Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 138. It's Iliya here, and as always I'm really grateful to have you on the channel. I really hope you are staying safe and sound and praying for Ukraine, because really what is happening right now is just unreal. I'm gonna share a couple of comments throughout the video, but yeah, I'm just praying, sending prayers to Ukraine. And if there are any Ukrainians watching right now, I doubt it, but let's all of us send together any sort of prayers, meditation, whatever we actually can do, and hope for the best. Okay, so this week was pretty tricky, and I'm having a loss. It's a very minimal loss of -1R, right? So but pretty much what I'm a little bit sad about this week is that the analysis that we started with on the weekly outlook on Saturday, and then the Tuesday outlook on Telegram, it played out to perfection. All the targets were met, all the levels that we looked at were smashed, and the levels were also respected. But unfortunately, the entries were a little bit tricky this week. So my week started with a little 3R win. It was a very little scalp. Then I took one loss the same day. Then I took two losses on the next day, and then I took another loss. So pretty much I made 3R, then lost 4R, and of course missed out on some great setups due to clear entries not being provided and just me not seeing them. But of course it's perfectly fine. We're trading right now in a very strange times. We're having war, and geopolitics are really shaking the market right now. It's money constantly flowing, exiting from one place, going to another place. So it's really tough right now. So again, my biggest tip for you will be to try to decrease your risk, reduce your exposure to the markets, wait for the things to settle a little bit. But yes, personally, I trade with a reduced risk right now, just protecting the capital, striking. And again, I've been having a tough time this February. So taking it easy, as long as the market develops, starts to provide the setups that I'm looking for, then I'm only going to start scaling a little bit higher. All right. So again, let's get into the video. We're going to break down the market to see what we actually had this week and what we can expect for the upcoming one. If you're new to this channel, make sure you're subscribed, because there is educational content coming out. I post this weekly outlook and setups every Saturday as well. And before we start, I want to mention about an amazing broker, that is Forex.com. It is great, especially for crypto and stock trading, and also Forex. I chose their eco account, so I pay a little bit of commission, but every single lot that I trade goes towards planting 10 trees. Really supporting them on this initiative. Check them out. Link is down in the description. Check out all the links as well. And let's right now head into the analysis. Alright, as always, let's get started with a Dixie, which looks like it's definitely increasing in value. And right now we're having actually a pretty big rejection, but this is mainly due to Friday. Because again, right now we're having a push, and then the next day or a couple of hours later, there goes a news announcement or something, and the market just rockets in the opposite direction, right? But pretty much, if you remember from last week, I would love for you to check actually last week. So we were targeting this guy right there, and of course the next target will be up there, which almost got met, but it didn't. And again, pretty much if I just zoom in on the Dixie, well, we are bullish. We had a push, we had a pullback, then the market created a new higher high. Then we pulled back and we stayed right there for a couple of time, right? This week was massive bearish engulfing candle, but we created a higher low. The next week was an inside bar. So what we said is that we're potentially going to break out of the mother candle, and it actually happened this week. We just broke out, and then we had a massive response from the top. And this is what usually happens when we take out the liquidity above the high. And we're also trading during these strange times. We had a massive rejection to the downside. And again, this happened part from Thursday, because as soon as we actually took out the high, we experienced an immediate reaction with this big wick. And pretty much what I said on Friday, my morning analysis for the team, is that we're potentially going to have an inside bar today, which was on Friday. So there we go. We're having a daily inside bar. Okay, so what I usually do with inside bars is I just mark the high and the low of the mother candle, and potentially what we can expect is the market to break out either on both of those levels, or just one, potentially paired with the hard time frame direction, which is bullish. So once again, we're having this daily leg. The market pulled back below 50%. It created a new higher low. Then we started changing on the 4-hourly right there, which was very clear, in fact. And then again on Thursday, we just smashed the targets. It was a very massive explosion. You can see for how long, by the way, we accumulated. So if you're trading like within this sort of price action, it's really hard to get in. And when the market actually goes, if you're not in, like with a slightly swing trading approach, maybe with a little bit of stop loss, it just goes, right? So as you can see on the 4H, we had this massive leg to the downside right now, created a new high on the 4H, although it's a wick on the weekly and a wick on the daily. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my big range like this, which is like from the low to the high. Currently, the market is already below 50%. It actually responded from the 50%, right? Then it tried to push lower. I tried to short EU, potentially looking for a continuation right there, but nope. Market decided to give a little bit of a deeper pullback. And of course, it was Friday, had a very tough week. Also in stock picking, I did buy a lot of stocks this week, already floating big in profits because we had a very big recovery also on the indices and on individual stocks. And again, I'm not gonna go into great details about this, but it happens for a reason. Stocks are very overvalued, but I'm gonna comment this one on the indices, so make sure to stick around. But currently, yeah, so pretty much this is my higher low right now on the 4-hourly time frame. So as long as we remain above it, then I will be bullish. Potentially what could be the expectation is a liquidity grab of the inside bar. So potentially we can open, we can flush to the downside, and then hopefully we hold right there. Then we can reverse, and potentially if everything goes as planned, which we cannot expect right now to go as planned, because we really don't know what's going to happen right now. We never know. But again, in normal market conditions, we at least have the edge. Right now, we really don't know what's going to happen. Pretty much this will be an outlook that I will be looking for. But potentially, if I really see this area right there as really flat. So it's pretty flat. So it can definitely be liquidity grabbed for potentially even for a deeper retest of this demand that I was also looking for, but it never actually got retested. Okay. But yeah, if you actually ask me, so if this is the big push, if this is the big pullback, then pretty much our range starts from here and it ends right there. And as you can see again, this zone is also below 50%, and this is pretty much the last point that I will be looking for longs on the Dixie. Okay. So keeping all of this in mind, stay tuned for next week, where I'm gonna do also a monthly analysis. But so far, I am bullish on the Dixie. First level that I will be looking to long is this one right there. If this one fails, then of course we adapt, either look for shorts. But then after all of this right there is liquidity grab, I will be looking to long from 95.50. And then if this one fails, then we can call the market bearish. Okay. And of course, right now on market open, if you're feeling risky and if the market actually decides to pull back a little bit, you can of course take a little short. So if it pulls back right there, if it gives you the entry setup, take a short, write it down into the demand, and then from there, which possibly could be Tuesday or Wednesday, then we can start to reevaluate. Okay, so this is my Dixie analysis. Let's have a look at EU. All right, Euro USD starting from the weekly time frame. So similarly to the Dixie, we're having a huge recovery, right? It happened part of Thursday, and then also on Friday we had a little bit of a bullish candle. But pretty much once again, the target was the lower low, and it just got hit. And I think we also had another target there, somewhere right there, which also got smashed. But pretty much, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on the weekly because I'm gonna do a monthly analysis next week. But again, potentially, if this is really about to decline, I will be looking for the low levels again, as I've been calling them. This is 1.10. This is where potentially I would like to see the market go in order to really, for the higher time frames to change. Currently, we are just bearish, so the higher time frame is bearish. So if you take shorts, this is high probability trades, and I took quite a few shorts this week, but unsuccessful. Well, not quite a few. Could have taken more, but was staying patient. So pretty much. The big confusion on EU was that, again, we had this big range, massive move lower, massive move higher. And then again, the biggest confusion is, which is your range? Is it this one? So is this push and a pullback for shorts, or is it this push and a pullback for longs, right? This is what was the confusion. And many people were looking to long from right there, which of course was a successful long. But after the market pushed, it failed to break higher and started forming a little bit of lower highs right there. Then it was clear that we're just gonna attack the low. And we did this right now, and we're already massively recovering, also forming an inside bar right now. So if I just mark it like this, and again, what I would expect to happen, which would be really good, is Monday to open to potentially go manipulate above this daily high right there, which is also the inside bar high, tap into something to the top right there, and then potentially, if everything goes as planned again, which I said we cannot really expect this, then we can see another sell-off. So Dropping onto the 4H, again, we can see the reaction right there, but the market simply later responded from this supply right there. It failed to break for quite some time. It was just accumulated. And when was this week? So yeah, I think I first took a short from here, but the market went a little bit higher. So I didn't enter from there. Then I got stopped on this big bullish move. I think I entered somewhere lower, and then I did not catch the short as well. I'm going to show you what I did. Let me first actually share a brief outlook of the analysis. So pretty much again on the 4 hourly, this is my leg right now. Oops. And we're already way above 50%. So we're traveling towards somewhere, and the first area that I will be looking to short will be this one right there. So potentially a liquidity grab above the daily high, which is right there, which is also the inside bar. And we can potentially from here start looking for shifts on the lower time frame and start shorting. Okay, so this will be pretty much my simple outlook. Again, if you're feeling risky, then what you can do is you can go also against the trend, which I also tried to do on Friday, but got a break even, unfortunately. So if the market actually starts with a little push to the downside, taps into this zone, and if we actually see a lower time frame shift potentially, then yes, we can take a long towards this area. But then don't get your hopes up. Potentially we might not actually reach so high. And again, similarly to the Dixie, we're having a lot of flat pricing right there. So this can definitely get liquidity grab to potentially come and test this wick on top. I don't expect this to happen too much really. But once again, currently, if you actually see what we are doing right now, we just went from one range, expanded to the highs, expanded to the lows, expanded to the highs. So we're just right now jumping between this sort of range right there, right? So again, it's very possible that we're actually going to go and retest the highs and then again, retest the lows and then just keep expanding like this, right? Which is pretty much a consolidating market on the hard time frame, because again, if I drop to the weekly, we're having a range, daily, overall range, right? So just be mindful of all that stuff. But again, targets were perfectly fulfilled. The first target was down there, fulfilled, and then we immediately actually flushed towards the next one. So again, the analysis played out perfectly, but unfortunately, the entries were a little bit tough. So let me actually show you. I learned quite a few lessons this week. Actually, we had a hour-and-a-half webinar with the team to really study, to introduce refinements to our trading plan. So we had a really valuable session. So my first short was actually taken from this little guy right there, because it was above 50%, which is one of my rules. We tap inside, and I was already taking kind of aggressive shorts, because I was really sure that the market was going to go down. So I really tried to actually go a little bit aggressive, all right, which did not pay out this week. Sometimes going aggressive pays out amazingly because you don't get like confirmation entries, but sometimes it doesn't, right? So what I did in the morning is I took a very quick short. I'm not going to go into great details in order to keep the video shorter, but this is my this is a scalp. This happened just before London Open. I was aware that the market is going to liquidate higher, but this is just a setup that I could not resist. So took it from there. You're going to see take profit was down there for precise 1 to 3. I closed the full positions, which was a good buffer that it provided me to later actually strike a little bit more aggressive. And then pretty much what I did is I entered an aggressive entry first with, again, reduced risk, because I plan to scale in later if the lower time frame provided an entry. And this is my zone that I entered from. So I entered from right there. Stop loss was a little bit bigger, and the market gave me a little bit of a response at first, right? Then I was looking for the 1 minute to really change, but nope, it just responded, went back in, consolidated, and hit stop loss, right? So after this time, I adapted and I said, okay, cool. Well, what can I do next? Well, I'm going to wait for the 50-minute to really shift. So then I identified my 50-minute higher low, because if you just follow the 50-minute structure, we have a push, pullback, and pretty much right there, I was selling a higher high, which of course is good because we can expect a higher low. But yeah, it just continued forward, right? And it did not stop. So then I said I want to see a break of this level in order to go short, and this level actually did not break. So I did not short it from somewhere right there. But then on the next day, you can see that actually this level never broke. But then let me show you actually on the next day. Let me see. So this was my I think this one was a Tuesday, right? I think so. So on that day, I was up 2R. So there is the next day. I also entered aggressive trade right there. So again, I was with this short bias, and then I was like, okay, cool. I think this was on Monday, by the way. This is Monday, which created the weekly high this week. So it was beautiful with liquidity grab right there. And then we massively flush to the downside, breaking also 4-hourly structure. And I think this was actually the first target down there. We broke it, then we pulled back all the way up, right? I shorted right there, but then we went even deeper. But this, according to me, was the high, right? And then I took a trade right there with a confirmation. Again, this is the wick that I was trying to utilize. The market tapped inside, reacted very nicely, and I took it. But again, I was trading a little bit against the 50-minute trend, right? We had a push, we had a pullback, we had a higher high, we had a higher low, which tapped right there into this demand. And then I just went a little bit against the trend. But again, I was utilizing the higher time frames as well. So I was confident in that trade. And after it got stopped out, then I identified, well, okay, maybe you're trading against the 50-minute range. And then I identified this high. And again, I came back to this demand and I said, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to be waiting for this one to get taken first and then to potentially short it really from the top if it's really going to come in right there. But guess what? After I got my stop loss, the market just actually shifted on the 50-minute right there. And then I was actually looking for an entry somewhere from right there. It pulled back and then it just again flushed. It did not really provide a textbook entry and I was already not really trading at that time. So I really missed the drop this week, because this is your opportunity, either this one or this one. And then since then, we just decided to drop. And the trade that I took, we took it together with the team as well, is this one. The market tapping inside, creating higher highs, then starting to shift. Some momentum is showing in right there. Took it from there, stop loss above 4 pips, gave me a reaction, stop loss. And then again, we entered into the top, started to range, push down. There is pretty much the shift right there, which we could have spotted. And then the market pulled back right there and tapped into something on the left. So if you took this trade, congratulations. And potentially later, you can also take this one, which I also missed. And then the market just decided to drop. So this was my next day, which I lost one. And then I also had, I think on Friday, some trades. Let me see. Yeah, so on Friday, I wanted to go long. So on Friday, I wanted to sell from the zone, which was also above 50% of the range. So I wanted to sell right there. At first, the market tried to tap it. It failed. It actually went into demand. So this was my demand. I wanted to go long from right there. But on this moment, I didn't want to go aggressive, like something like this, just with a stop loss below, which I should have done probably, because this one would have brought everything back. So very tricky week, kind of also a little bit emotional. And so what I did is I took a long. It was a little bit early. So I saw the shift of market structure right there after tapping. So I took it from right there. Stop loss was below, but this one I closed at break even. So I entered from right there precisely, reacted, went back, reacted. And as soon as it actually came above, I knew that it's going to liquidate. So I closed at break even. You're going to see the stats as well. Then we continued to range. And again, my dead hour came in. I don't trade after 11 o'clock. And guess what? The market played out at 12, which is when I don't trade, because then we actually came in right there and we gave the long. So I missed the long after getting the break even. And then after the market coming into supply, I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's try to trade a little bit of a pullback. The market did not really provide me with a shift right there, but I entered the trade, stop loss above, and this was the final loss of the week, which brought me at -1R in total, which is of course nothing huge, but the big thing is, as I said, is that there were opportunities this week to take. The market really moved, smashed the targets, but again, sometimes you're just not given the entries, which is fine. Not every week is a trading week, not every week is profitable, not every week you're going to be given the entries that you want. All you have to do is just risk management, stick to the plan, and keep executing. Okay, so this is once again my EU outlook after very quickly breaking down the trades that I took. Let's see how it opens, and stay tuned for my Tuesday outlook on Telegram. Link is down in the description if you want to join me there. Let's have a look at EJ. So the JPYs will be a bit tricky to analyze because they're mainly driven by UJ as well, and the UJ is also going mad. So once again, we actually flushed, we took out this low, and we massively responded right now. So I really don't know how to read the weekly time frame right now. Hopefully next week, after checking also the monthly, we're going to make more sense of it. But let's see what we can do this week. Okay, so we actually had a break of structure right there, but the market right now liquidated below. So we're pretty much, once again, we took the highs, we took the lows. So what is this, right? What is this? It is a range, right? So this is what we're currently trading into. Daily time frame, yes, we were pulling back bearish, and I do believe I actually was calling longs from this level, which we actually had a long response, but then the market failed to follow through. failed to actually continue pushing higher the next day. And again, what we did, we formed an inside bar and the next day just smashed. It just smashed to the downside. And right now we're having this very strong retrieval to the upside. So what does it mean? Are we really gonna start pushing into the highs, or is it just a pullback to continue trading lower? I really don't know, because once again, it is just a range, right? You can see we had these lows right there. They got taken, they massively impulsed to the highs. We had this low, they got taken, so we can massively impulse into the highs again. But at the end of the day, they always end up coming back down, right? So just again, trading in a range, nothing very clear. Let's try to look at the intraday time frame. So yeah, on the 4H, it was actually pretty bearish. So I think I was calling shorts early this week. So hopefully some of you actually took them, because there were some textbook setups, especially on Tuesday. I really got hyped up this week actually, before really the war emerged, because it was looking good. It was looking good across all the currency board. But pretty much this was just respecting the lower highs, the supplies, also breaking structures to the downside, break right there, break right there. Constant breaks to the downside, retests, lower high formations. There is actually the very big short that you could have taken right there, double top flush to the downside. So I'm gonna approach it the same as EU, although I'm slightly bit hesitant to do so, because I really think this one can actually go a little bit higher. It also has quite some flat pricing right there, right? But again, the last higher low, if I just move these a little bit on the left, the last higher low is this one. Sorry, lower high. The last lower high is this one. So as long as we stay below, we should be looking for sells, and this one is already in. If we go back to EU, EU is currently traveling towards it, towards this one, but EJ is already in, right? So we can expect this one to go a little bit higher if also EU is going to push a little bit higher to tap into the supply, okay? So be careful. Also, we should be looking at the long side of things, because after liquidating below these low, we can expect a bigger reaction to the upside if you're trading in the range. And if I kind of take the range like this, currently we are kind of roughly in the lower portion. So if we're just about to be tapping 50%, and you don't want to be selling from 50%. You want to be selling in these area right there, which is above the 25. Okay, so a little tip right there. But yeah, possible sales right there. I would approach it on the 50-minute. I will look for a clear shift on the 50-minute, but I'm also not excluding the possibility of us going long. So we can take a little short right there, TP maximum right there, 129. And then from there, if we have a shift, then I will be looking to take it higher with targets just above all of these highs right there. Okay. So tricky outlook on EJ. I'm kind of looking at it at both sides. I don't know what to expect after this liquidity grab right there. The reaction is pretty massive, right? But yeah, if we break above this high, then we're gonna adapt. So this is my current outlook. Shorts, we're already in the short area. So if you're looking for shorts, it's good, right? Then just make sure to take your profits right there, because this is a very strong demand from which we can start to impulse into the highs if EJ turns bullish. Okay, so stay mindful, be open-minded, have all the scenarios intact, and just strike. Let's have a look at the Aussies, starting from AU. I didn't take any trades on this one this week, so let's see what actually happened. So we're having another bullish week. We opened a little bit bearish, and then we impulsed into the highs. And again, remember, we were having an inside bar, and the target was the high. We took the high. Perfect. So again, targets on this one was smashed. It was bullish. What could happen right now, though? Right, so did we actually tap into this guy right there? Yeah, we just tapped into this guy right there, and we started to react very massively to the downside, but also we are still kind of bullish. So again, if we're honest on this one, what is it doing? It's also in a range, right? This low just got tagged in by a little bit, and right now we're trading into the highs a little bit, so it's not really trending. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's going down. So we have this push, we have this pullback, we have this push to the downside. But currently, if you just actually see what's going on, it's starting to become a little bit corrective, but overall, again, it's to the downside, okay? I just want you to think even ahead of the game and really try to feel what the market is kind of getting into, because I can feel we're getting into an overall range right now. Of course, I could be wrong, but this is how I feel about it. Overall, the bias is to the downside, because we are definitely trading down. This one was also a lower low right there, which is perfect. So again, as long as we are staying below this zone, then we should be selling, okay? But what happens is we actually had a couple of longs. So right now, AUD is very tricky. So pretty much, yeah, this week we were just trading within this price right there, which was an absolute mess, right? Hopefully you guys didn't take a lot of losses right there. Then we massively impulsed into the highs. We tapped into the zone, and right now we're having a massive selling pressure to the downside. But what this did, so if we're having this range, right? So the market liquidated above the range, liquidated below the range, and we're back in the range, right? So this is what is happening right now. So again, if you ask me right now about the bias, I just don't know on AU, right? It looks bullish, but again, overall the highest time frames are also bearish. So we had this beautiful liquidity gap on top. We had a massive response to the downside. So a lot of you right now can read this one as, for example, breakup structure right there, and this can just be a response for the market to pull back. Sure, I am open to this possibility right now. So we're pulling back above 50%. So let's see how the market is going to respond from overall this kind of high right there, which is not really a lower high. It's just a high that broke structure. So we are yet right now about to form a lower high and see if we're going to flush. But also I want to be open to the long possibilities, because if you look at it like this, we're having right there a break of structure in this overall higher low. Sorry, this is a low. This is a higher low that broke structure and also failed this supply. Push, pullback, higher low formation, push, pullback, higher low formation. So we can, of course, expect a break of this high. And if this high gets taken out, then this one also goes. Okay, so just kind of opening your minds to all of those possibilities and not really sharing anything in precise, because myself, I'm not sure, right? So I don't want to share a bias that I'm not sure of. So I'm just open. I'm just gonna let it flow a little bit, see what it wants to do. But pretty much right now we're having a massive move higher, lower, right now higher once again. So it's really stuck in this range. So yeah, not expecting much on AUD/USD, and I'm personally gonna let it play for a little bit. Shorts could be intact right there, right? For shorts, if the market starts with a push to the downside, I will also be open for longs, because again, we had this massive wick right there, so we can potentially expect the market to come in and retest this wick also if it wants to head higher. But yes, AUD/USD tricky, so give it some time, guys. Be patient. Don't try to do something that you're not sure of. Okay. And also AJ, also pretty tough. Again, what you can see on this one is, yes, we can say this market is bullish, but I want you to feel what is happening right now, right? So again, push lower, push higher, push lower, push higher, and see how it's just squeezing. And what we're doing, we're just trading in the range, right? And this one especially, this one is even harder than AU to analyze. We're having some bullishness from the downside right there. Pushed, pulled back. This week is still an inside bar. So this is good. So we're having this inside bar right there, and this week did not take the mother candle. So I would expect first thing this to do is to take out the high, because it's very close to the high. And then we can, of course, come into this weekly zone for potential extreme retest. So then from there, we can actually tap at the higher portion of the range, because what I told you about ranges is that you don't want to be trading in the middle. You want to be trading above this line, which is perfectly right there. So this is what I would expect on AJ, a little bit bullishness, which means that also AU can pump higher. So keep your mind open. Daily time frame, nothing too much to extract. It's very tough to read right there. And then dropping onto the 4H, we had the same thing right there. So if you really have to look deeper into it, this was supply, lower high, the market tapped inside, responded, failed. So after this point, I turned bullish, right? And pretty much this was the zone that we could have longed from. First tap, second tap, third tap, fourth tap. I don't know how you trade this one. Then we pushed into the highs. Good, looks like a higher high. Then we push into the lows, liquidates this one, taps deeper into the demand, and right now we're pushing into the highs, back in the range. Okay, so what we're simply having on this one again is a range, up, down, back in the range. So right now up, down, back in the range. So this is what I would expect to happen. Again, I think if you're looking for shorts right now, I think this is wrong, because this high right there did not really cause much. It just went for a liquidity grab, and right now we're coming with big steam towards this zone, and we're very close towards breaking this inside bar high, right? And we're very close to tapping into this weekly supply. So I would say that AJ has a little bit more upside. How do we trade this one? We just let it flow for a little bit so we can see some clear entry opportunities, clear zones, because we don't have them now. Okay, we're just stuck in the range. If we get an initial short to pull us back down, then that's fine. We can try to get long right there, because if we take the most recent range like this, we want to be, I should do a 75, I should do 25. So we want to be shorting below right there. So if we come in even deeper right there, I would be looking to long, sorry. towards the highs, but currently just staying in this range, I would avoid trading it. Okay, so enough forcing all of that stuff on the Aussies. They're unclear. Give them some time, guys. We both have shorts and longs playing, so let's see what happens, and hopefully we get some clear markets soon. Let's have a look at the NZDs, which should be pretty much the same, although this one is looking pretty bearish right now, NZD/USD. So we're just tapping inside this weekly supply. Very nice rejection from there, dropping onto the daily. So yeah, this one looks very clear, right? Because on this one, we're having this very clear range. It's not really a consolidation. It's not a kind of a range up, down, up, right? It really impulses down, and right now we're very correctively coming inside, okay? But still, if you actually pay attention, the daily is still bullish. So we're just tapping inside this one. So let's see if we're actually having any signs on the lower time frame. Well, we can say we do, but it was the same delivery as on AU. Like we had an initial consolidation, a massive impulse into the highs. We came in, something on the left was tapped. Then we massively initiated outside, right? And so right now we are back. The biggest question right now is, so I would personally look at it like this, but a lot of you can start looking at it like this, right? Oops. A push to the downside and a pullback right now above 50%. So some of you might be looking to short right there, which is correct, right? Which is sure correct, because this one actually broke some sort of structures, but did it really cause a major shift? No, because the daily is still bullish. And if you're trading a weekly zone, which is this one, you would like to see at least a kind of a daily to 4 hourly change. And even on the 4 hourly, I'm not sure how strong this push is and if it really actually shifted the structure. Okay, so again, keep an open mind. Do we have an inside bar right there? No, this one just, yeah, this one is actually looking a little bit better for short. So if you're looking to short like an Aussie pair, I would better short NZD right now if you're actually trading those pairs. Let's see how it taps inside. Let's see if we got any response. Wait for a lower time frame shift, and then of course look for it to the downside. But yeah, this one definitely looks more on the short side. So I'm gonna call a short on this one. But again, keeping my mind open that we can come in for a deeper retest. Maybe take out this high right there first. I see very flat highs right there on the left, which were kind of almost taken. Just the first one was taken, which is sometimes enough, right? But if you're looking to short this pair, I would approach it with great caution from this level right there and really wait for a lower time frame shift like on the hourly or on the 50-minute to show me it wants to go down, and only then I'm gonna strike. But keep in mind that the daily is still bullish, and if you get stopped out right there and you wonder why, well, your answer is gonna be on the daily, because we have a push, a pullback, and potentially we can expect a new high. Okay. NJ expecting this one to be even trickier and maybe more bullish than bearish. Yeah, we were having the same situation right there, tapping into weekly supply after a break of structure. So that is very good. Dropping onto the day, same story. So we're having this wick right there. The market pushed, pulled back, and right now it's pushing into the highs. It actually came in right there to respond from this supply. So again, NZDs are looking a little bit sell bias right now, but are they ready? Okay, are they ready? You can see this one on the 4H, it really doesn't look like shifted, right? Because we have this very nice push. So this is currently my 4 hourly leg. The market has pulled back and it beautifully responded from the higher low, from the demand right there. So I really would avoid looking to sell from right there, okay? I would only start selling if I see 4 hourly structure down, which we don't have yet. So again, let's see, we tap, maybe we take a liquidity grab, then break, retest, lower high, then I can start selling, okay, after we break below this zone right there. So again, pairs right now, especially Aussies, NZDs, tricky, seeing both longs and shorts, which is always the tricky point, because this is what potentially the big guys are doing right now, trying to confuse us, to take into some low probability trades, building their orders, and then potentially initiate outside of ranges. So again, be careful with the NZDs, be careful with the Aussies. Overall, the NZDs are looking a little bit more bearish than the Aussies. So if you wish, focus on the NZDs. But once again, wait for a clear 4 hourly shift to really show you that the 4 hourly is going down, and only then just trade the continuations, because this is your highest probability trades. Let's have a look at UJ. So an overall bullish candle, again, as expected, DXY is strong, and this one should also continue going strong. And we had at first a very massive liquidity grab to the downside, and then you can see we went all the way higher. So this is definitely a bullish signal. And again, if we drop on the daily, this one was the daily higher low, major daily higher low. We tapped in once, right, first, twice. We actually gave a little bit of a response, but then you can see on Thursday, when actually the stuff started happening, we had a massive liquidity grab to the downside, then exploded higher. So pretty much if this is about to continue being bullish, then this will be the target into the highs, which we actually failed to tag in right there. So there's a lot of liquidity staying above this kind of double top right there. Possibly there are a lot of people selling the double top right now, which also makes it a perfect target. So yeah, I am overall bullish on this one. And also if I drop on the 4H, so again, we were slightly trading bearish. Maybe some of you actually caught a short right there on this massive move to the downside. But then you can see it was just a liquidity grab. Then we actually shifted the structure to the upside, right? Pushed, pulled back. Right now it's pushing, already creating a new higher high. Slightly bit tricky to determine where exactly we can take a trade from, right? Because we can of course look for a very deeper tap towards this zone, and you can also take this one as a higher low formation, which it is, right? Because it broke structure. But then if we want to eliminate or to increase our win rate, I would say, then we drop the range, and this one is above 50%, which immediately makes it a low probability. But again, sometimes when the market is impulsive, we had this one on EU this week. One of the days it just went short, and I missed the short right there because I was looking for a deeper pullback. Sometimes all you can do is like a 38.2% pullback towards right there, shift, and then potentially you can hit higher. But if I'm trading USD JPY, I would approach it something like this. Two levels, overall bullish sentiment, and again, if all the fundamentals are going as expected, bullish DXY, people putting their money into gold as well, right? Which I think UJ and gold are negatively correlated. So if gold goes up, UJ should go down. But currently correlation does not make any sense. So don't listen to correlation. Overall, bullish bias on UJ. Let's see how it works. All right, let's have a look at the GBP, starting from GU, which is finally making the move. So this one this week was actually paired with some speeches, with some news from Bank of England, with some comments right there on their interest rate and all of that stuff. It was also paired with the war, with the strong dollar, and with everything, and it just plummeted. One day it just accumulated and it just plummeted. And again, we know that the weekly time frame is bearish. We have been looking for sales for quite a while, but we had kind of 3 weeks right there in a consolidation. And yeah, you can see how the daily was actually accumulating, and then all of a sudden we just plummeted. This just happened on the 23rd. It provided a nice short right there from the daily high, and then it just massively melted to the downside. First target was achieved, and respectively, this will be the second target that we're going to be looking at. To simplify the analysis, we have a daily leg to the downside, which makes this kind of a daily lower high. And currently, I would be expecting the market to pull back towards this level to very simply look for a short, right? What usually happens with such massive impulsive legs, we tend to stop somewhere in the middle, create a range, and then initiate lower. So if you see this, continue looking for shorts, right? Don't get married to just a single level on the top right there and just keep following the price. Because again, as I told you, sometimes it just stops for a while right there, maybe 38.2 FIB, and it continues to drop lower. But the highest probability will be to see it right there. And this one, in fact, developed, some of my community members actually took it. There was one day that it just like played out perfectly. There it is, this one. So this one was manipulation above the Asian high during London, and then it just started creating lower highs and retesting supply. First retest, second retest, third retest right there. So you had first trade was here, 1, 2, 3, 4 trades to take on this one, and just to capitalize on this massive move to the down. This is just insane, right? Of course, we're gonna see somebody on Instagram calling this one with a 1 pip stop all the way down for 200 risk to reward. Don't trust those guys. But yeah, currently looking for shorts, looking for a little bit of a pullback, preferably above 50%. What I see is a very little zone right there, which we can of course come in and tap. Go to the hourly, see any levels that you can refine. But again, expecting the market to start bullish at the beginning of the week to create a potentially weekly high, fill in a little bit of that weekly engulf, right? So start open a little bit bullish and then start flushing to the downside, filling this wick and potentially even breaking it. Okay, so bearish bias on GU. Let's see how it goes. Well, GJ should also be bearish because we're also having a nice impulse to the downside right now. It's currently responding from this little demand right here, which is kind of this weekly wick. Tap inside reacted, but then again, if the GBP is really that weak, then it should just continue dropping lower. And we saw this one that it was bearish. We saw a little bit of supply being introduced, some lower highs being created. Also, we spotted this sort of, so we had a higher high, higher low, higher high break. So this is the 4-hourly break, which really confirmed that we're potentially about to go down. Pullback, lower high formation. We then consolidated for quite a while, right? We just flushed after 8 days, but we flushed, which is important, okay? So marking our range from the high to the low, there is it. Do I have a daily zone? Not really. Okay, well, pretty much anywhere within this zone is a sell zone. Okay, so if we pull back towards this whole buy and then a big sell-off, right? So buy to sell, we can potentially start looking for shorts, then drop to a lower time frame and start waiting for the market to shift, and then potentially looking for the shorts. Okay, so very simple outlook on GJ, short bias following the overall momentum. GA actually ended up going massively down. This is possibly due to the strength of AU as well and the very weak GBP. Massive weekly candle on this one. So yeah, I'm just gonna remove this one from my watch list because I actually always get it wrong. So I'm just gonna remove it in order to also decrease the watch time, because I see a lot of the average watch time of this 1 hourly video is like 11 minutes, which means that some of you are just tuning in for your favorite pairs. But yeah, GA is definitely not my favorite. So right now we are massively flushing into the downside. We're potentially about to tap into something on the left right there. So we're going to have a response to potentially move higher. This is a new daily range, which hasn't yet formed. It's just moving down. So hopefully some of you are actually shorting this one on the way down. But yes, I will personally be looking for a pullback, lower high, and a continuation lower. As simple as that, but I just have no track of this pair. So definitely I'm going to be removing it. Euro GBP actually ended up playing out because again, Euro USD being bullish like this, of course, and Euro GBP being so bearish, then we can see that this one actually worked out very nicely. I had this wick right there. The market was overall bearish. We first tapped inside the supply, then we came in back, created a little bit of a liquidity grab, but at the end of the day, we're starting to pump higher. So the biggest question right now is really the euro gonna be so strong that it's gonna actually head to break to make a new high, right, after this big push to the upside, and then to potentially come inside this very big weekly area? Or is it daily? Yeah, I think it's kind of weekly / daily. Well, let's see, right? But currently Euro GBP has turned definitely bullish. We had this little liquidity grab down there, and after this we started shifting higher. So if you're looking for any longs, then you should drop a couple of demand areas, drop your range like this, and yeah, if the market pulls back to both of those levels, then I will be looking for longs potentially. So this is my outlook on the GBPs, right? The GU and GJ actually look pretty good for shorts, so let's see if we're actually gonna get any pullbacks. And again, guys, don't get married to a bias. We don't know what's gonna happen. We can just wake up on Monday and the GU market can be up there. Okay, so trade safe, lower your risk as well, and wait for high quality setups. Very interesting week for gold, and again, it's very tricky right now to trade gold with all the geopolitics going on right now. I also had a chat with a friend who also told me that Russia has been accumulating their gold reserves while dropping their USD reserves. So they're definitely putting their money into gold, hoping potentially that the price will increase, so probably they can sell for a profit. You know, this is how they do it probably. But why do you have to have a whole war to do this? But yeah, massive weekly candle with a huge rejection on top. Really don't know what to expect. Again, I'm not an expert on gold. It's also very fundamentally driven, but look at that wick. So this is when everything actually happened. We're having this big candle, but pretty much if I just look at it in terms of the trend, well, it is bullish, right? So if it's bullish, then all we can do is start expecting some sort of pullbacks. And if I take this overall big weekly / daily range, well, all those zones are below 50%. So I will be looking to see how gold is going to potentially pull back. And then again, if you're trading gold, then I would advise you to drop to a lower time frame and just wait for the market to shift from either of those zones and then strike from there, right? 4 hourly, personally, this is a pure manipulation right there. So again, we had kind of this range, massive move higher, massive move lower. So can we right now continue lower to revisit some of those lower regions so we can get a better price to go long? Again, I don't know, but this is how I would expect it to play. I'm definitely seeing the longs being accumulated right there, and all of this accumulation of reserves and of stuff. They have been doing this for quite a while, so we can potentially expect gold to probably hit higher. Also investors possibly that are gonna start putting more money into gold, but they're also at the same time putting money into the USD. So right now also correlation does not make a lot of sense, right? But overall, in terms of technicals, I'm bullish in gold, looking for it to drop below 50% and then start looking for longs from either of those demand zones. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let's have a look at the indices, see what the stock market is doing. It's an absolute mess right there, but I also think when the fear is the biggest, the opportunity is also the biggest. So I'm definitely acting right now. I was really actually focused on stocks this week rather than Forex. My portfolio was looking really deeply in the red on Thursday, but this is when I actually bought the most, and on Friday it was looking really green, like twice as much as the loss that I had on Thursday. But strange times once again, and again the biggest question is, okay, so is this the bottom? Is this the pullback, which almost reached like a 15%? Usually statistics show that sometimes a 10% dip, well, it's not sometimes, there was a percentage, I think 50% of the time a 10% dip, which we had right there, can become a 15% dip, right? So we have definitely more space to the downside. I will be really looking to buy from areas like this, right? But right now, even this low, no, this low was not broken, but everything that was resting right there is currently collected. And again, the biggest question is right now, are we going to enter in a bearish market on the indices and on the stocks in total? Well, let's see how it goes. Currently, the daily trend is still bearish, right? So we're having this daily lower high. So as long as we remain below this level where we are bearish, so I'm really looking forward to see how it goes. My current strategies, I'm not trading indices yet. This is something that I will be looking for the future, but I'm just dollar cost averaging on every drop. And right now, I do believe it's the best opportunity. So make sure, I hope you actually have some cash reserves that you've saved, so you can put in some money into stocks, right? But I'm just gonna cover the daily time frame right now because this is where I want to be focused on. Bearish sentiment on US 30. Companies really recovered after a big drop on Thursday. They really recovered immediately, started recovering like mad. So we actually had the drop on Thursday, and I think actually on Friday they started recovering, or they had the drop on Wednesday, but on Thursday recovered. I'm not really sure. Also, Nasdaq pulled back very deep into this level that I've been telling you, around 1300s right there, 13,000, sorry. But we had a massive drop to the downside. And if you actually have a look at all the tech stocks, right, all of them are massively recovering right now, which you can actually see right there. This happened on Thursday, and also Friday is continuing this move to the upside. So again, the biggest question is, are we gonna continue with the bearish trend, which pretty much this is our daily lower high. So looking forward to it, looking forward to see how it's going to tap right there. Is it going to make another move lower, or is it going to come back to start accumulating and then potentially to start a new uptrend? Is the war just a shake of the stock market to give us those deep corrections, or is it really going to get worse? I really hope not, because those guys can do really bad stuff across the whole West. But yeah, this is currently my outlook. I'm still bearish on Nasdaq, but again, keep buying as low as it gets, because as it recovers, it's going to be great. Pretty much, yeah, the tech stocks are already in the 20% dip, which is great. But again, the tech stocks, so Nasdaq usually includes like growth companies that tend to pull back like 20 to 30%. And of course, we have companies like PayPal, Netflix, Spotify that are down huge, above 50% drop. So this is why this index is dropping more heavily than the others. But right now we are in this area. We are in a 20% dip, which is great. If we compare it to the Corona crash, right, it was 30%. So we still have some more downside. But yeah, we can start expecting a little bit of recovery if the market doesn't enter a bearish scenario. Okay, S&P. Sniped this one from the bottom, exactly when it opened. I just sniped it to the downside right there. And currently, again, recovering very nicely. But the biggest question is, so if I just delete all of those things, again, we had this 10% drop. If you remember right there, it was 12. We had a massive response, which was looking really good. But then I told you, well, we're still bearish. So we can, of course, expect a continuous sell-off. And right now we went back 15. So again, 50% of the time, a 10% dip is going to become a potentially 15 or 20. But yeah, again, so right now we have a around 25 to 30% chance that we're going to head even lower towards 4K. And if you drop towards 4K, I'm going all in right there. Well, I'm already kind of going all in, but But yeah, so pretty much again on the daily, it is a lower high, push, pulling back. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to hold right there. Is it going to react, then potentially break? This one will be perfect. But just observing right now, buying as low as possible, and be careful with trading those stuff as well, because again, currently with all that is happening with the war, with geopolitics, with the macro stuff, it's really scary to be trading those stuff, right, in such markets. So be careful, and yeah, focus on the daily. Let's see how it actually holds. Crypto is looking very good right now. I missed buying, actually. I really missed this one right there. I think, it happened overnight, and by the time I woke up, it was looking a little bit already bullish right there. I was like, I don't want to buy it so high, and still it's actually bearish. But right now, if you actually look at it, it's starting to shift a little bit on the 4H, but we had, I think, multiple 4-hourly shifts. We had it here. But then we continued to drop. We actually went, this is a place that I really wanted to buy from initially, which was this one. Perfect tap inside, 34. I missed it. I really wanted to scale in a little bit on Bitcoin, but I was focused on stocks this week. Still have some reserves to put into crypto, but looks like the 4-hourly is changing a little bit. If we have another pullback right there, I'm gonna make sure to put in some money into it. But again, still staying within this demand right there, which actually caused the break of the high. So as long as we stay above 28.80, I am a bull. But then if we break below, then this is gonna be scary. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Again, 4-hourly is changing. So for intraday traders, then I think long opportunities can start kicking in. We can start having, for example, ranges, then initiations, pulling back inside the range. So yeah, this is the stuff that I will be expecting to happen right now. I'm not sure how the war will reflect crypto. Are people really going to start putting money into crypto right now as a safe haven? I'm really not sure. But again, also Ethereum, also missed Ethereum from the dip right there. Right, then as you can see, the 4-hourly taps inside, reacts and shifts. So potentially we can start framing a couple of long scenarios right there, but definitely still the daily is bearish. But also a very good thing is that the daily pushed, it pulled back, should have created a lower low, but it did not. And right now it's starting to reverse. So this is first signs of potentially the market failing to break below and introducing a bullish trend. Again, I'm not a crypto expert. So I don't want to be shouting any bull runs, but of course a lot of guys on Twitter are possibly already shouting to the moon. So let's see. All right, this is my outlook on the cryptos. Might start looking for some longs, although I missed them right there. So definitely on any pullback, I will be looking to scale in onto my holdings as well. So yeah, guys, this is how I want to wrap it up. Once again, tricky week, sending our prayers to Ukraine. Hopefully everything gets resolved soon. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. I tried to keep them quick, so you actually enjoy them more, straight to the point, just straight to the analysis. I was really busy this week, so I couldn't publish an educational video. Gonna be giving my best to really try to publish at least once per week, so I can provide you with more value. So make sure you're subscribed, turn on the notification bell, like the video, drop me a comment. What do you think it's currently about to happen? What are your thoughts about everything that is happening? And yeah, if you're watching this over the weekend, have a really relaxing one. And if you're already watching this during the week, preparing your chart, I wish you good luck and let's crush it.